Just a follow-up on Edward's question. If the president is not going to make time to visit the border during his trip tomorrow to a border state, will he do it in New Year?
Look, I addressed this last week about the president visiting the border. I'm not going to go beyond what I just laid out. I think, and we believe, the question again, as I was just answering to your colleague in the back, is that what are congressional Republicans going to do to actually deal with this issue? Instead of doing political stunts, many of the political stunts that hurt families, that hurt kids, that hurt children, right? That hurt people who are coming here to try to seek asylum, leaving a dictatorship. Instead of going to the border and talking about things that not going to actually deliver and keep our border safe, why don't they work with us? Why don't they actually do something? Why don't they actually, help the president get the funding that he requested, historic funding, into the Department of Homeland Security? That's one way of doing that. But again, they're playing political games and doing political stunts.
The reason I ask is just because the president had said previously that he hadn't had a lot of time to get to the border. He's going to a border state tomorrow, so you think maybe there would be time there. And if there isn't tomorrow, can you say at this point that he...
What I'm saying is tomorrow he's going to actually focus on an issue, a bipartisan issue that was voted in Congress, the CHIPS and Science Act, something that is going to deliver for the people in Arizona, creating jobs and making people's lives better and making sure that we are bringing manufacturing back into the U.S. That is critically important. Now, what I'm saying, the second part of that to your question, if Republicans officials truly want to deal with immigration, they truly want to deal with the border, then they would stop doing political stunts and actually work with us on the plan that we have put forward, which they are not. And that's what we want to make very loud and clear. There's ways to deal with this. Again, they can come and actually do this in a bipartisan way, just like we did with the CHIPS and Science Act.
The trip is obviously to Phoenix, not to the border, not to Georgia, which is sort of a pressing issue for Democrats, for the president. Have Democrats determined that a visit to Georgia would not help Senator Warnock's re-election bid?
The president actually, and I actually already answered this, and I'll just repeat what I just said. The president, and I want to be very careful about talking about an election that's happening tomorrow because it's an election, and I'm covered on the Hatch Act, so I'm not going to comment on that specifically. But when we look back on the president's role during the midterm elections, he played a significant role for Democrats. It was because, again, I just answered this question, is because of the way he made the contrast with Republican officials, again, who talked about putting Social Security and Medicare on the chopping block because they were upset about the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a historic piece of legislation, is going to lower costs for American families. That's what they were upset about, because we were saying we wanted to make sure big corporations pay their fair share and not put it on the little guy. And that's what they put forward. And the American people spoke really loud and clear. That's not what they want. They want us to continue to fight for their freedoms. They want us to continue to fight for democracy. And, that red wave never happened.